Boom! I have just watched Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell. I am the Randy Mole, and this is another entry into the 31 Days of Horror for Jumbo Shango's and the Randy Mole's YouTube channel. Wow, we're giving you some content in the minute. We are spoiling you lot. So, I have just watched Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell. Or Tremors Part 6. Yes! We're up to Part 6. To synopsisize Tremors A Cold Day in Hell, I feel like I need to almost synopsisize the whole of the Tremors franchise that got us to this point. There's been a national lockdown this year. People started doing lots of things. One thing that I did is I worked my way through all the Tremors films. So I've watched all of them leading me up to Part 6. And the Tremors films they're an interesting it's an interesting series because effectively it's cheap as chips and it's tacky, but it sort of keeps a fun vibe going all the way through it. I'm assuming everyone's seen the original Tremors, because if you haven't, then why are you watching this? Why aren't you watching the original Tremors? It's one of the greatest movies ever made. The sequels never get back up to that high, and it has quite a few lows in it. But what it does do is they've evolved the graboid over the series. So not only do you have the graboid that goes through the sand and now jumps a lot and spins in the air, you also have an ass blaster, which is like a flying creature, and you also great name, ass blaster. And you also have shriekers. Now they're basically ass blasters that don't fly; they run around and shriek around. And that's kind of the evolution of the graboid, the tremor. Now, we're at a point where over the last few films, I should probably say that Burt Gummer from the original film is the main star of the sequels. That's kind of the way it's gone. He is the lead character, played by Michael Gross, and he is brilliant. Burt Gummer is brilliant. He's the hero, but he's also a bit of an arsehole as well. He's good and mad. Lots of little quick sort of action hero quibs that he puts out there. He's still the hero, and his son, who was introduced in Part 5, Travis, played by Jamie Kennedy, is still in this one as well. So they've kind of come over. And it's directed by the same guy, Don Michael Paul, who directed the last one. So there's quite a big bit of continuity in there. So the story is, it says A Cold Day in Hell, and it kind of promises you tremors in snow, and that's how it starts. In the Canadian Arctic, there's a graboid, they're not called tremors, they're called graboids, under the ice, and it eats some people because that's what they do. So they call in Burt Gummer to come and help. So he travels over to Canada, the Arctic part of Canada, although they don't really spend any time in the snow at this point. It's now back into the desert next to the snow. Clearly not cold, even though they try and keep making out it is. They have to help a group of people get rid of this graboid that's living there. And the ass blasters. There are ass blasters in this one as well that fly around. Ass blasters fly. I feel like if you haven't seen any of the other movies, you don't probably need to start with this one because there'll be a lot to catch up on. But where they are, they're kind of in what they consider the kill zone. They've been cut off. They can't get back. Usual issues. Same tremor situation as always. But there's an extra in plot development in this one, which is that Burt is dying. He has been poisoned, and he was poisoned when he was swallowed by a graboid back in Part 3. And that's something I really like about this movie, and I like about the franchise as a whole, is the continuity. They really believe in the mythos of the graboid. Everything that has happened in Part 1 and Part 2 and Part 3 and Part 4 is continuously built on. So if you stuck with these films, there is so much payoff. Even just little comments they say about things. One of the main characters in this one, and there's a big ensemble cast really, is playing the daughter of Valentine from the original one, which was Kevin Bacon's character in that. And so they keep putting things in. There's references to Bert's wife, who we know from the second one that they split up. It's really clever how they do that. So they have to save the people that are there, try and kill the graboids that are here, and they also have to try and catch a graboid, keep it alive so they can get one of its glands and excrete the serum to stop Bert from dying of the poison that he's had in his body for all these years. So yeah, bit of a predicament they're in. Things I liked about this movie, this is quite gruesome compared to a lot of the others. I mean, it's not like shockingly gory or anything, it's fun gore, but this one, it did feel like it kind of like, from the last few, they'd really thrown in a bit more blood, from watching it with my son, he thought this was the scariest one so far. He was like, oh, it's scary because people keep getting eaten. And they do. Heads are rolling around, arms are falling off, they're finding bits and bobs of people around. Again, none of it is played to be scary. The Tremors franchise is a horror comedy franchise, and it strongly stays in that wheelhouse. But being a horror comedy, it is funny. In fact, I found myself laughing out loud repeatedly in this one, particularly at the things that Bert Gummer says. There's a couple of bits that are absolutely hilarious, but one of them is he's trying to make someone be brave enough to do something, and he's like, say you have steel balls, say you have stainless steel balls, say your balls are in the Guinness Book of Balls. I was like, this is brilliant. Lots of things like that are great. And Jamie Kennedy, who gets a lot of flack, he was really good as Travis in this. I think in the last one he came across as a bit of an obnoxious brat, which was his character. In this he's much more levelled out. And all the other day players that are in this are all really, really good. Really good. They play it straight. Michael Gross obviously loves the character, loves the role, and fully invested in this. And, we're spoiled that he's stuck with this franchise for so long. I liked the direction. I mean, what was the guy's name again? Don Michael Paul. He did the last one, he's done this one, and there's a new Tremors film coming out later this month, I think, called Shrieker Island. And I like the fact that he's brought some continuity to it. He has made the effects better. I mean, that might be down to the budget as well, but since part 2, the effects have gone digital, and there were some shocking effects when they started bringing in the shriekers and the ass blasters with really poor CGI. And in the last one, which was called Bloodlines, the effects got much better for the CGI graboids, and this one as well. It's fine. The effects are fine. The budget does not seem to be a constraint for this movie at all. What didn't I like about it? It promised us Tremors graboids in the snow, and it did not deliver on that at all. From the pre-title sequence, that was it. And then it's like someone realised towards the end that we've not mentioned the fact that there's snow or anything anywhere. So then when the credits start, they put the credits over like a snow sort of scene of like the snow, a bit like The Thing, a camp in the Arctic, which is not anything to do with this film. We've not seen that. So it felt a little bit like they were being a bit cheap on that one. What else didn't I like about it? Well, not a lot really. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a masterpiece of filmmaking, and it's not gonna, if you don't like any of the Tremors sequels, you're probably not gonna like this one. But if you watch the original Tremors, and then maybe Tremors 2 Aftershock, which is pretty good follow-up to it really, actually, it's alright. And then you were put off by the effects that came in part 3 when they went back to perfection. Then you might have not bothered to watch anymore. I would say you could quite easily jump back into Tremors 5 and then Tremors 6. I think you should. In this world of franchises and everything else, I think it's great that it's still going, and I look forward to watching the next one. I think the only other thing that I would probably say is, like all the Tremors sequels, you get a good opening, and then it's a bit bit pacey, it's a bit slow, and they've got a formula that they follow before it goes a bit more batshit crazy, and it does the same here. But, you know, it's a good time movie. I'm going to 3 pumpkin this. There is nothing about this movie that puts me off wanting to watch the new one when it comes out. In fact, knowing it's the same team, same director, and Michael Gross is back, I'm fully down with it. Right, that's it. Cool. Right, I'll let you guys go trick-or-treating, and I'll see you another day.